Hi, everybody. I'm Brendan Murphy.
And I'm Matthew Brown, and welcome back to A Few Good Movies. This
hmm
week, we are knocking out the next and newest episode of The Mandalorian. It was a fun one. But before we get to that, folks, you know the drill. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment right down there for us. Takes 10 seconds, means the world to us. We appreciate each and every one of you. All right,
Absolutely.
Brendan, let's get to it.
Let's get to it. All right. So, like Matthew said, we are continuing our coverage of Mandalorian Season 2 with this latest episode, Chapter 15, The Believer. And Matthew, I have to say that I believe this is one of the best episodes of The Mandalorian because this is fantastic. So much fun.
I agree, especially the fact that I would consider this like a filler episode, and it still brought so much.
Yeah. I mean, it's an episode that obviously we have a thing where we got to go find out this information so we can go save Grogu.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's especially we thought this was going to be a prison break episode, which I'm glad we were proven wrong.
Yeah.
Because I thought the whole thing was going to be like, because when you hear in the last episode that Bill Burr is coming back, you're like, oh, so it's going to be an episode where they got to break Bill Burr out of prison. And like, there's going to be a lot of tension between Mando and Bill Burr where they're like trying to break him out, and the whole thing is going to go Ori, and like it's gonna go all complicated, and there's gonna be a lot of friction and all that, and like that's kind of what I expected
For sure.
And then this episode turns it all on its head, which once again, one of the great things the show does is like it keeps surprising us with what it wants to do. Because essentially what it sounds like Jon Favreau did was just like, I want my buddy Bill Burr back for an episode. I'm not yet done with that character that he played, Mayfield, and like I just want an episode where we're just going to have fun the whole time. Like, and we're going to delve into that character, and him and Mando are going to like become buddies and friends, and they're going to work together, and they're like going to reach a mutual understanding. Like, that's the last thing I expected from this episode. Like, this show, man, honestly, like just the show.
Yeah, as soon as you think you got this show figured out, it goes ahead and switches everything up on you and throws you into a new loop and makes you have a bunch more questions.
Because them breaking Bull out of prison is just Cara Dune walking up to the robot being like, that guy, he's coming with me. And Bill Burr is even just like, I don't want to go. What are you talking about? Like, why are you taking me? Like, I don't want to go wherever you're taking me.
Yeah, it's hilarious. He's like, oh, the robot just keeps referring to him. I forget the number, but he's like, 3326 or something. And he's just like, you have 10 seconds to comply, and lights up his torch. He's like, all right, I'm going. He has to be forced to leave prison, ironically. It's pretty funny.
And it's fun because someone pointed it out on Twitter, and obviously we all kind of know it's true, but I'm quoting this from their tweet, and I forget who it is, but they were just essentially like, what's great about Bill Burr in this show is that they literally just dropped a Bostonian into the Star Wars universe. Like, no changes, nothing whatsoever. They literally just took Bill Burr and just like, here you are, buddy. Have fun. We'll see you later.
Bill Burr, I mean, he's never let me down, per se, acting-wise, but he really comes correct in this episode.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I mean, it's that thing where he's not necessarily an actor who's gotten a ton of chances to do something like that. I know he was in King of Staten Island this summer, which I still haven't seen because we're in COVID. We're all broke. We can't be buying movies these days as much as we would like to. I still am planning on seeing it because I love Judd Apatow's movies, all that. But
Pete Davidson act too, because he's in that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I can do that as well.
Yeah, but and I know that Judd Apatow usually, like, as far as comedy directors, he also tends to lean more towards drama. So, like, maybe Bill Burr got to flex his muscles a little bit there.
For sure.
And I'm missing out. I know I am because, like I said, I love Judd Apatow's movies. I would like to see this new one. But, yeah, man, I mean, he surprised the hell out of me because obviously we're having a lot of fun in the drive and the big old action sequence with him and Mando where they're trying to get to the Imperial base and everything like that, where they're hauling some pretty explosive cargo. And they have a little conversation there. And when I first heard the whole, like, oh, we're not so different, everybody's the same, yada, yada, so on, I was like, ugh. But, because that's the worst. I hate that.
Yeah,
I feel
boring.
Like we already talked about it, I think, like a week or two ago when there was the Ahsoka episode, and Michael Biehn goes, me and you were not so different. And I was like, okay, all right. We're doing this. That's fine. And it's not that it's a huge annoying thing. It's just like whenever someone says that line, I'm kind of like, okay, I can go on autopilot right now. I don't really have to pay attention to whatever they're saying.
Yeah, it's
like,
something you've seen 1,000 times. You know how once they say that line, you know how it's going to play out from there. Exactly.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I think it also has to do with the script. But Bill Burr is able to bring it into some very interesting territory. I was actually like kind of hooked in. I was like honed in on what he was saying. I was really thinking about it.
Yeah. For me, even the biggest moment in this episode that Bill Burr does is when they're having that, I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but when they have that conversation with the Imperial boss or whatever, I don't know what his exact title would be.
Yeah.
But when he's just sitting there listening, and they're just pushing in on him, and you can see it in his eyes. And I'm not going to say what happens just yet. We'll get to in a second. But right before that big moment happens, I was literally sitting there watching. I was like,
yeah,
this guy's locked into circumstances. He's not talking, and he is controlling this scene right now. Like, this is wild. And then what transpired showed me he really was in circumstance, because I was like, oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Which, I mean, I guess we'll go ahead and put it up. Like, spoiler warning, we're going to get into spoilers, all that good stuff. But, dude, a lot of interesting stuff going on in this episode. I want to make sure I shout out the writer and director, whose name I'm going to butcher right now, and I apologize. It's Rick Famuyiwa or something along those lines. I'm absolutely horrified by my pronunciation of that, and so bad, but did a great job this week. He had directed 2 episodes before. He specifically directed the last episode that Bill Burr was in, The Prisoner. So obviously they've been having a little bit of rapport together. And it seems like he knows what to do with Bill Burr, how to deploy him, how to use him in an episode.
For sure.
And I mean, it's paying off. He was great in this episode. I hope we get more of him soon.
Well, the way they kind of set it up there at the end, I feel like we could see some more Bill Burr, because he kind of like left, but he turned around and didn't necessarily want to leave. So I do get a feeling that Bill Burr, especially because how dedicated he was to basically going against the Empire at the end of the episode, it was that full character arc. You were like, okay, he has put his demons away. He knows that what he was doing was wrong, and it almost feels like he wants to redeem himself now.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's just going to be kind of how everything else operates in this show. It's just one episode next season, they'll just be like, hey, Bill Burr is back for an episode. He's just going to come on through.
Well, that's the beautiful part about this show, is that it's so open. Like, there's, except for the storyline of, getting Grogu to where he needs to go, you could do anything with this show. You can add anybody. You can throw the plot pretty much wherever you want. And they've been doing that. And not only have they been doing it, but they've pretty much been executing it flawlessly. Yeah,
no, I agree. I mean, especially when, like we said, they use Bill Burr as just literally a regular guy. They drop him in as someone from Southie just immediately. There's no dressing up. Like, it's just Bill Burr.
Literally.
The fact he's able to come in, bring his energy in, and like nothing changes is still kind of incredible. They're able to integrate so many different aspects of this universe so fluently.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
One more thing I have to say about Bill Burr that I appreciate is I know you've seen it, a lot of comedians try to go into acting. And I notice a lot of them, and there's some exceptions to this rule, but a lot of them kind of have this, they kind of act the same way they do what makes them funny. Perfect example, Kevin Hart, what he does in movies is what makes him funny when he does stand-up. Bill Burr gets it, like, it's Bill Burr, but he gets away from pretty much the comedy completely, and he's still an enticing character, which to me, that just speaks volumes to who he is and how dedicated he is to what he does.
No, I agree. I mean, surprisingly, because just how he was deployed in the last episode he was in, he kind of takes over the episode. Like, this is his.
This is Bill Burr's episode. Big time, dude.
Which, if you were going to tell me that the episode before the last episode of the season, kind of the most important to set up the finale and everything like that, we're just going to let Bill Burr run with it. Like, that's his.
I'd have
That's
never
kind of
believed
crazy.
You. Yeah, I'd have never believed you if you said that. I'd have been like, no way, dude. He's a side piece.
And it's incredible that he was able to take it over so well and give such a good performance. Probably the best I've ever seen him act.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we can get to that scene at the little cafeteria table. Okay. Dude, especially because I watched it this week, I was getting some serious Inglourious Bastards vibe the whole time I was watching it.
That scene down in the bar.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, dude. Yeah,
Just-
exactly.
Like just table conversation. Everybody's having a drink. Everyone's just like prodding each other a little bit, just a little bit here and there. Oh, it was super tense, which tense in a way that I haven't seen from the show really ever. I think it's a well-written show. There's good dialogue. Like, there's never been any real complaints from me at how it's written, but I haven't felt tense from the writing of the show ever. Usually it's because it's a big action sequence or the characters are in danger or something like that. Like, this was truly, it felt like a Tarantino-ish kind of scene.
Yeah, that, and also I think what it was for me is throughout most of this show, there's been adversity, but the Mandalorian pretty much does everything pretty effortlessly. Like, you always like, oh, he's got this.
Yeah.
That moment of, shit, all right, what are they going to do now? Like, how do they talk their way out of this? Like, what the hell is going on? I didn't know the answer. And for me to just think, oh, well, they're just going to go old school and just shoot this place up and just fucking head out guns ablazing. Yeah. I really didn't think it was going to turn out like that. And it was a pleasant shock. I was like, oh shit, here we go.
No, I agree. This episode was just very surprising in a lot of ways. Also, I don't want to shy away from some of the other actions or the other character work, because we got another great Boba Fett shot this week when he's got his armor cleaned up and everything like that. That was awesome.
Yeah, he looked cool as shit.
Yeah, and I do not want to sell short the big old car action set, like the big truck set piece that we got in this.
The Juggernaut.
The pirate, yeah, with the pirates and everything.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, we did a little Mad Max and Star Wars mashup. I was hyped.
It was cool seeing the Mandalorian have to adjust his fighting style too, because he was trying to block, like he had his armor on and he didn't, and then all of a sudden he had to adjust his fighting style right in the middle of it. Yeah, I was yelling at the TV. I was like, "Let's go!" I was getting all excited because he was adjusting and on the fly fighting on this huge thing. It was big Mad Max vibes for sure.
Yeah, and I mean also the fact, once again, we talked about this earlier. I think when we did the third or fourth episode, whichever the Bo-Katan one was, and even the first episode with Timothy Oliphant, but him changing his uniform and like taking off the helmet and everything is a huge deal. And when you see him in a different costume, it really is like, oh, okay. So now he's kind of flying blind. Like, this is a different feel, different tone. Like, kind of, it's a real shift. And I think such a great decision by the show to kind of have him work around in that kind of way.
Yeah. I got to ask you, though, how do you feel about the character? Like, the actual Mandalorian? Like, him without his helmet? It's a weird question, but, like, how do you... I didn't think the Mandalorian was going to look like that. I'm honestly not the biggest fan of the Uncle Rico mustache, and I don't know why, but just this goes back to the first season when he took his helmet off. I was like, I was like a little let down for whatever reason.
So, I think we've talked about this before. You weren't a Game of Thrones guy, right?
I saw the first 2 seasons and lost my interest.
So. Well, I'm going to kind of disagree with you there, is because Pedro Pascal, the guy who plays the Mandalorian, one of his biggest claims to fame and why he is kind of now getting all this traction, he's going to be in Wonder Woman 84 in the next couple of weeks. Okay. But he has a pretty big arc in season 4 that like wowed a lot of us. He's really great in that.
Okay.
So I knew that was coming when they cast Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian. Like, I know Pedro Pascal. I like him a lot. I'm a big fan. So, like, when I got to see Pedro Pascal at the end of the first season, I was like, oh, my God, they did it. And it's, like, super powerful, and it's Pedro Pascal. This is great.
Okay.
And it's a good moment with him and IG-88 in that episode. And then, dude, because we don't get to see the Mando's face, obviously, a ton. Sure. But when he takes off his helmet in this episode, man, I was feeling it. I was in. I was blown away. I was like gripping, like hunched forward, like what the hell is going on? I'm so ready to see like what's going to happen, because also he's giving such a good performance too.
This episode compared to the first time he took his helmet off, I agree. He there was a good performance this episode without his helmet. He was showing some acting chops for sure.
Especially since it's a performance where he's not talking a lot.
Right.
He's literally, it's just his face. For the most part.
That part where he's literally trying to get his face scanned when he first takes it off, you can see that tension and like nervousness in his face with that countdown going on. He's like kind of just scrambling. You can tell he definitely.
Yeah. Well, it's also just the action itself. and you get it when you see his face too, but like how desperate he is, how like what ends he is willing to go to get Grogu back.
Right.
Really a powerful moment.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, it goes back to Bill Burr's performance too, but the way that I want to make sure but that Mayfield just kind of plays it off and is cool about it. And even he like has a moment where he's just, holy shit, he just took off the mask. Like it's off. That's him. And he like has his own kind of reaction to it. Is super nice. And then you have those reaction shots when Bill Burr and that Imperial officer are going back and forth, and Mandalorian is just like, what's going on? What am I going to do? I'm super tense. I can't say anything. It was a lot of fun.
I love that little bullshit Bill Burr came up with. He's like, oh, he can't hear. You can speak up louder.
His name's Brown Eyes.
Yeah, Brown Eyes. That's right.
Great. And dude, I had one of the weirdest cases of whiplash and weirdest feelings I've ever had watching the show when there's the scene of them coming into that camp and the stormtroopers applauding and saluting and everyone's having a great time. I was like, this is strange.
Dude, yes, you nailed it. I said
strange.
The same thing. I was like, are we applauding the Imperial troopers right now? I said, what is this like a big, like, what are we doing here right now? I said, this
yeah.
Right. For 10, 20, 30 years, this has been the enemy. What are we doing right now?
Like, we're getting to 50 here. Like, we're getting up, we're getting 45 around there. Like, the face of evil, essentially, in this universe for years.
We're just applauding. There's beautiful when the
there's a nice score going.
Yeah, like what are we doing? I was like, are these guys the heroes now? What the hell is going on?
But like the fact that the show is able to make you feel triumph, because dude, when the TIE fighters came in, I was cheering. I was like, oh my god, I'm so happy they're here. It was the first time I saw TIE fighters and cheered and was so happy. Yeah, it was nuts.
All right, fuck yeah, they're doing it, dude.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's another fun, weird decision that the show made, which is, we've talked about a million times that we love that the show is making these kinds of decisions and doing these kinds of things. But it's strange. I mean, and they had another fun little prequel joke. I love when they're trying to figure out who's going to go in with Mayfield, and they're going around and like, no, I'm wanted. No, I can't go there. I'm part of the rebels now. And Boba Fett is like, I think they would recognize me because he's the fucking.
He's just Boba Fett.
Well, it's not even that. It's that he's all the clones.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. He is the Clone Wars. The clones are based off of him or Jango technically, but yeah.
Yeah. Which I like this about this period of Star Wars. They could have so easily been like, no, we're never going to talk about that. We're not going to deal with that. Not a thing. But the fact that with the show, there's like, no, we're going to recognize it. We're going to use it to our advantage, especially because Filoni is one of those guys who worked on Clone Wars and was with Lucas during when all that stuff was going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice to see them actually like take care and use that material from the prequels and still like carry it forward in these ways.
Yeah, and they're able to do it so smoothly where they use things from the prequel, but it does not in any way, shape, or form dominate this show. It's a very small portion of the show.
I mean, it's the same with how it uses the original trilogy, too. I mean, obviously, the Boba Fett stuff is pretty huge.
Yeah.
And the fact that it doesn't feel like... Because I know a lot of people brought this up. I saw a couple people on my like Twitter and my Instagram going like, I don't know. This could get a little fan servicey. I don't know. We had Ahsoka last week. Now we got Boba Fett. This is feeling like we're going into some dangerous territory. I mean, even me and Fletch were talking about how we were like, I hope it doesn't become one of those things where every week we have someone from those movies coming in to help out the Mandalorian. And the fact that we have Boba Fett in here and he's barely, like he's a second thought, essentially.
Dude, he was in this episode
kind of in the background.
30 minutes.
Yeah. He has this great moment with the Slave One, or the Slave Two, or whatever the ship is called. And it's great, but it's not overpowering in the ways that it could be.
Let's put it this way, it's not even close to one of the first things I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about this episode. I'm not going, oh, dude, did you see the Boba Fett scene? Like, that's not the first thing that's coming to my mind.
I mean, the first thing we did was we talked about Bill Burr for like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
He was this crazy new creation by Filoni and Favreau. And yeah, after these last 2-3 episodes where we've been doing stuff like that, I'm glad to see that we're still on this track that the Mandalorian has been on. We're not trying to get too far into being something that's so connected to the movies and all the Jedi and everything else.
Facts.
Really nice.
And I can't, unless they throw some crazy curveball at the season finale, I can't see them adding any more characters because, I mean, we got to get to them. You know, this seems like we're setting up for the matchup. Especially that message at the end the Mandalorian sent Moff Gideon. That to me was like, okay, the Battle of Middle Earth is here.
For sure. No, I agree with you. I agree. I mean, it's kind of like how the finale last season operated, where it's just, we've got our crew, we've got Boba, we've got Ming-Na Wen, we've got Cara Dune, we've got Mando, and we're going to go raid Moff Gideon's cruiser. I'm excited. It's going to be great.
It should be a very action-packed season
100%.
finale. I would like to believe so.
Yeah. And let me check and see. They might have, I don't think they have because they usually don't. They might have quoted who the director's going to be. No, they have not. But, like, I'm guessing that's going to be a Favreau episode, and we all know.
He's done most of them, right? Or he wrote it all.
Him and Filoni write most of the episodes.
Okay.
Or they're the creators. They're the end-all, be-all, like, it's all under their umbrella, but they are hiring people to write and direct.
Is Jon Favreau also hands-on with the Obi-Wan series?
I do not think so. I think that is going to be... I was literally looking at it this morning because we should maybe talk about this a little bit, but Disney had an investor meeting yesterday where they announced a lot of good shit for Star Wars fans and for Marvel fans like myself. It looks like Kathleen Kennedy is going to be a main producer, and Deborah Chow, who is going to be kind of the director of most of it, it seems like. Because apparently this is not going to be an ongoing series. It's going to be a limited series, like maybe one season kind of deal.
Okay.
At least from what I've been reading and what I've been hearing, I could be totally off on that. But it looks like Deborah Chow, who directed, I'm pretty sure, an episode of Mandalorian. I forget exactly what. But she's been in TV a lot. Okay. She's directed some Better Call Saul.
Which is a great show. Incredible.
For sure. Yes, she directed episode 3 and episode 7 of the first season of Mandalorian. She's done some Better Call Saul. She directed, she's been around TV for a while. She knows her way around TV. Like, she's done some Man in the High Castle, stuff like that. But she's going to be the one mostly in charge of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, I feel like.
Okay.
Which, dude, fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I'm ready. Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen getting back together. We're getting the boys back together. I'm so excited.
Dude, after that Hayden Christensen announcement yesterday about him being Darth Vader, I was already on board with the Obi-Wan, but I know if anybody who's a real Star Wars fan, we're locked in now.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but we're both kids of the prequel generation. We're always going to love those movies because that's the Star Wars we kind of grew up with.
100%.
Especially, obviously, my views have changed, but when I was a kid, Anakin Skywalker was my favorite person on the planet. I fucking love Hayden Christensen. He was my boy.
Dude. I mean, when I think about, like, if you tell me, like, right now, what's, like, that first big moment you have of going to the movies, it's the Chesterfield mega screen, Revenge of the Sith, day it came out. Up at the top, had the limited edition Star Wars cup, the big bucket of popcorn.
Of course.
I still have the cups. Like, that's how much that movie means to me. So to hear Hayden Christensen coming back, and like you said, we were talking about this before we got on here, he only was basically Darth Vader for like 10 minutes of screen time at most.
Not even.
So it's like, not even. So it's like, we're going to really get to finally, you get to see all of that build up to who Darth Vader is. Now we get to see, basically for our generation, what he's like actually as Vader, which should be really, really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like since he's coming back, because he doesn't do too much these days, I feel like, as an actor. Like, I don't think he's been kind of keeping quiet. I think especially also, I think he went through a divorce kind of recently, so I think he's just been kind of keeping to himself for a little bit.
Sure.
But well, he was in Rise of Skywalker for, like, he's doing a couple things here and there, but he hasn't been, like, in the public eye as much as he was when he was in
Rise of Skywalker
as a voice.
Oh, okay.
Because at the end when, like, all the Jedi are talking to Rey and they're like, you can do it, and it's like, Hayden Christensen is there for like a second, which bummed me out because I was really hoping he was going to be like heavily featured in the movie, because you know, as someone who loves Kylo Ren as much as I do, he's my favorite Star Wars character. I thought the way to bring him to the light was, and the way the movie did it was fine, but I remember talking to my roommates leading up to it, and I was like, the scene I really hope I get, and like fan writing a little bit just in my head, and what I was hoping was going to be in there was a scene between Adam Driver and Hayden Christensen, where, you know, Hayden Christensen would sit him down and be like, listen, I fucked up. I know you like me a lot, and like I was pretty badass. Like I know that, but also I was going through a rough time back then. Like that's not who I am. That's not who you want to be. Like,
poor judge a character at that time in his life.
Yeah. Generally, him just like sitting him down and being like, yo, dude, there's another path. Like, you don't got to do this.
You don't want to kill the younglings. You don't have to.
Yeah, for sure. Like, that's the kind of, because, you know, his whole thing is that he's obsessed with Darth Vader and all that, and I felt like the thing that should bring him back is that Darth Vader gives him a little talking to. Like, I think that would have been nice.
It'd be a nice full circle moment for sure.
Yeah. And it would, like, bring it full circle back to episode 1 and everything, since it's the whole Skywalker saga. Maybe we have all the Skywalkers in one movie, but that's just me. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see what they do with him, because I don't think they would just bring him back for no reason. I think they have some special stuff planned for him. Sure. And I mean, dude, it's Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan again. Like, for me, that's huge.
That alone was getting me to that series.
I mean, he's still one of my favorite Star Wars characters. Like, he's top 3 for me. And it's because of that performance he gives in those movies. So I'm
the Sith. He is, oh man, he's my favorite.
He's incredible. Yeah, he's great. I mean, all 3 of those movies, he's killing it. He's awesome.
Oh, for sure. He just, to me, he takes it to the Revenge of the Sith, that the stakes are so high, and he just hits it. He nails it.
I mean, the big argument for all of us when we argue that his performance is so great is "You were my brother, Anakin. I failed." That whole speech at the end, like that's the moment.
I've got the high ground, Anakin.
That's it. Like that's it. Yeah. You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
He's just, I hate you. It's my favorite when he's clawing out. It's
great. It's fantastic. I'm hyped. I mean, we got a lot of good Star Wars news yesterday. We got a bunch of shows coming. Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron is one of the things I'm most excited for personally.
Patty Jenkins.
Hell yeah. I'm so ready. Mm-hmm. We got so much good Patty Jenkins stuff. I mean, we got Wonder Woman 84 coming soon. We got Rogue Squadron. I'm hyped. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to cover from this episode of Mandalorian specifically. We covered most of the big action set pieces. I think we talked most about what we wanted to talk about as far as Bill Burr. Like, I feel like that was the big thing I walked away from this episode.
That was like the sticking point for me. Absolutely. The fact that this was a filler episode and it was almost one of the best episodes, incredibly entertaining. And then, Bill Burr's performance was so unexpected.
Yeah. I mean, I think what we kind of want to leave this is just like, at least me, I'm just still so happy the show can surprise me.
Yeah.
Every week to week. Sad that we only got 1 episode left, but excited to see what that last episode's going to be. I think we got a lot of interesting stuff coming. I'm very excited to see it. Going to be a big old Moff Gideon episode. Hopefully we get to see Giancarlo just kind of go off, which I've been waiting to see for a while.
Haven't we all? God.
I mean, ever since I saw, because even that episode we see him in the last episode of the first season, he's there, and he does a lot of fun stuff. But he's not there in the way that I want Giancarlo Esposito to be there, essentially.
I want to see box cutter episode of Giancarlo Esposito, and I know you know what I'm talking about.
Of course I know what you're talking about. Like, listen, everybody knows what you're talking about. Like, when we all saw Gus step into The Mandalorian, we were like, holy shit, what is he going to do?
Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh. I haven't seen a Gus moment out of him, which obviously he's not Gus, but, you know what I'm talking about. We need that moment of where the boss is the boss.
Listen, you don't hire Giancarlo Esposito to just stand there. Listen, he's a great stander, not gonna lie. Breaking Bad, he does some top tier standing whenever he's behind the counter or whenever he's talking to people. He looks great and he's super menacing, and that's the best part of that character is that he's so quiet and composed all the time, but he can let loose.
Thanks.
But I'm ready to see the let loose. I'm ready to see it go because we've been seeing him just kind of scheming, giving little smirks, little nods, little smiles, just I'm getting what I want.
Mm-hmm.
This is great. And I'm really ready to see him and Mando come kind of face to face. Because we haven't even really seen that.
No,
We got a little bit, like they talk to each other over like the battlements and everything like that in the last, but like really them kind of going toe to toe a little bit. I'm excited to see what that brings us next week.
100%.
But yeah, I think unless you got anything else, I think that's it.
No, I think I would agree with you.
For sure. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. What did you think of this episode? What did you think of this performances this episode? Do you want more Bill Burr? You want less Bill Burr? Let us know. I'm definitely on more Bill Burr side. Let us know what you think of where you think the next episode's going to be. Are you excited? Are you still kind of feeling like it's been a little fan servicey? We'd love to know what you think of this week's episode. Let us know down in the comments. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter. We'll have all those links down in the description. And we will see you guys next week.
Alrighty, see you.